Xin chào, it's Niki here. I'm staying in Dalat city, Vietnam, which is arguably one of the cheapest countries in the world. At least that's what people often think about Vietnam and Southeast Asia in general. In today's video, I'm gonna show you exactly what I spent in a day living in Vietnam, starting with little things like going for groceries and eating out, and ending with the house I rent here monthly. Also, I'll count some things that people usually forget to talk about, such as medical, health insurance, and mobile data. That's gonna be interesting video. So, a little bit about Vietnamese money, so you can understand local prices better. Vietnamese dong is literally the second world's cheapest currency. A typical person in this city makes anything between $300 and $500 a month, and the legal minimum wage here is just $1 an hour. Thanks to you guys, I'm making a bit more than that. So the point of today's video is not finding the cheapest options possible, but to see realistic expenses of somebody who has more or less reliable source of income. Yeah, let's get started. It's not very early morning, and usually I cook breakfast at home, but today my fridge is not that full. It's been a while since I went for groceries, so we're gonna go to a little Vietnamese coffee place instead. I was passing this place every day before I actually entered and saw how crazy this coffee shop is. It's literally a greenhouse, and I know nothing about local plants, but they look giant. This place is just sick. I've been living around here for quite a bit already, but I never entered this cafe. Once I did, I was like, wow. And the food they prepare here is very simple, also very affordable, so I started to come here every once and then when I'm too lazy to prepare breakfast for myself at home. I think the breakfast is about ready now while I was like getting around and filming stuff. Let's go see what kind of food we got served today. So what we got here is rather a simple Vietnamese breakfast, a huge fluffy banh mi, which is like French baguette. In my plate there are 2 fried eggs, some veggies like sliced tomatoes and cucumbers, a little bit of lettuce with homemade sauce, I believe that's homemade, and also homemade pate, which is amazing for having together with this bread. I also got a tiny cup of iced local tea and a tiny cup of coffee, which is rather unique here. The name in the menu goes very regular, it's just Vietnamese black coffee, but the way this coffee shop prepares it reminds me Turkish coffee very much. The smell is strong, the flavor is strong, and overall vibe of having this in a tiny cup of coffee really reminds me the experience that I had back in Turkey. Strong, very strong coffee. Thank you. That is such a lovely spot. Also quite inexpensive. The food that I had today cost me 30k and the coffee also was 30k. I wonder how long will 500,000 note last to me today. I don't have any certain plan for today, just show you around, also hang out with my friends in the evening and work in between. And I guess I'm just back home, so let's have a little house tour. Yeah, so welcome home. I rent this place together with my friend. Basically, it is a tiny 2-bedroom house with a little yard. We use it as a parking lot for the bike we rent. There's also a barbecue corner that I don't really do that often anymore. There is a table to chill. Let's get inside the house, and once you get in, there's a huge room, basically a kitchen corner together with a living room. That's where I cook, that's where I eat, that's where I wash my clothing, that's where I watch stuff while sitting over here. Sometimes I also work here. I do love these cypress trees, although this tree is kind of dying. I'm sorry, tree. Over here is Dima's room, and over here is my bedroom. Kind of normal room with one big disadvantage: there is no window here. A tiny wardrobe here, I keep all my clothing here. This fridge, I don't really use it, just put some stuff on top of it. And here is a bathroom, shower, no bathtub. Yeah, so talking about the price of renting this place and prices for apartments in general in Dalat city, we pay 14 million a month. I mean 14 million Vietnamese dong a month for renting this place, which is honestly way above average. We basically pay the tourist price for getting this place monthly, but if we stay here longer term and negotiate the price down for a yearly contract, it could be 11 or even 10 millions a month, which is more or less average for getting this kind of accommodation in the city. Anyway, I have some stuff to do with my computer, have some work to do, and I could do that at home, but I do not feel that productive working from home. I have that kind of issue about myself. So instead of working from home, I typically go to one of my coffee offices. There are numerous spots around the city, and today I feel like staying closer to the nature, which means that we are going to the lake house. I like coming to this lake, just 10-minute drive away from the city, and you are basically in the nature. Also, really interesting construction here, giving me some Soviet vibes. So a little bit about getting around Vietnam and public transport. Basically, there's no good public transport in Vietnam. Forget about taking buses, there's no subway around the city, especially in a smaller place like Dalat city. And you either have to use Grab, which is an Uber alternative here, which is simple and straightforward to use, really convenient app. Or most of the people who stay here long term, and also short term visitors, end up by either renting a motorbike, a scooter, or buying one. For now, I rent Honda Vision that costs me $2.2 million per month, which is a good deal for someone staying short term. But as I plan to stay in Dalat for a bit longer time, that will be more cost efficient to buy a second-hand scooter and sell it before leaving Vietnam. Now we are going to the lake house. Here's the lake. Over there is a tiny coffee shop, really chill place called Lake House. That's gonna be our coffee office for the next hour or two. Let's teleport over there. So welcome to the Lake House. This is a tiny homestay / coffee shop right next to the lake. This place is perfect for having a slow time. All drinks cost between $1 and $2 here, and I got a cup of honey ginger tea for 30,000 dong and took my favorite couch with the lake view. The only thing that I wanted to do today besides filming this vlog is scheduling things for my Patreon and YouTube members. Yeah, my channel memberships are active and I really appreciate your support. I spent some time in the lake house arranging the postcards for my members and scheduling our monthly community meetup. I also made my laptop a bit more beautiful, that's special thanks to Julia from Fairbanks, Alaska. You know, that's always nice to receive something from you guys, especially from places that I never been to before. So, adding 30k to our today's expenses and moving to do some grocery shopping. There is just one large supermarket in Dalat, but that's a good one. Our shopping list today is very short. It's just coffee, condensed milk, fruits and toothpaste. But before doing actual shopping, I want to get you through all major products so you can understand local prices a bit better. This supermarket begins with fresh section. Lots of fruits, vegetables, baked goods, all kinds of meat. I often buy apples, which are rather expensive here compared to other fruits, and that's still very unusual for me to see mangoes and dragon fruits and passion fruits being cheaper than regular apples. There's also a great variety of vegetables, but I usually stick to something more familiar like potatoes, tomatoes, broccoli. Talking about bread, it is difficult to find some good bread in Asia. At this supermarket they have their own bakery, but most of the things that they sell are rather sweet, like sweet sandwich bread that I never buy and these baguettes that I rarely buy, although they taste really nice. As for meat, I usually get chicken breasts or beef. There is also a good variety of frozen foods and fresh fish, frogs, squids, octopuses, there is a lot of stuff, including these beautiful silkworms. I once tried it, that's not bad, but I will not be cooking it again. Now let's go to my favorite section in any supermarket, dairy products. Like every person who grew up in Russia, I'm in love with dairy products. Unfortunately, here in Asian countries, the selection for dairy products is not that good. There's a lot of basic things, sometimes they look very familiar, sometimes they look kind of weird to me, like this tiny pack of milk that is being stored not in a refrigerator. But anyway, there are some dairy products that I actually enjoy having here. This is kind of milk that I usually get for myself Dalat milk, pure, with no additional sugar and stuff, which is actually a big thing here in Vietnam. Another box looks similar to it, but it's actually sweetened milk. Then there is a strawberry milk and a choco milk. There's also this weird shelf with non-refrigerated milk. There's plain milk, sugar milk, strawberry milk, chocolate milk. I never buy any of this. But these yogurts are something that I buy rather often. Plain yogurt is my favorite, but there's also blueberry, fruit and durian taste. And right in front of the yogurts there is a small choice of cheeses, like cheese slices, cream cheese, shredded cheese, camembert. Eggs are usually sold in these packs, and I have never seen anything like this outside of Vietnam. Most of rice is sold in these huge packs, 5 kilograms each, which is typical for Asian countries. Noodles and spaghetti section looks just like any other country in the world, and overall this supermarket looks just like any huge supermarket in any country of the world, at least among countries that I visited myself. This is so far the weirdest things that I found in supermarkets around the world, like motorbike helmets being sold in a supermarket. I never seen that anywhere in the world. You know, maybe I should consider getting myself one, because the traffic on the streets here is really intense. I showed you quite a bit of things around here. Now let's proceed with our tiny shopping list and then head to a dinner. I'm like a little bit hungry now. Now it is about dinner time, and I wanted to have some Korean barbecue for a long time. There are plenty of Korean places around the town, but my favorite is Fungai Chingu, right at the central night market. This is a huge Korean restaurant with surprisingly affordable prices, and that would be a waste of food to come here alone, so I called my friends to join me. Once I got here, some food was already on the table, like at any other Korean barbecue place. For the main food we ordered 2 kinds of meat, a Korean pancake with lots of green onion, steamed eggs, and this weird variation of cold noodles that comes together with meat and peanut paste. I guess we are supposed to mix it together with the noodles. For a drink we had tiny bottles of fresh rice milk, that's not alcohol, just rice milk, and every single meal that we had was like really delicious. And the best part of it is that this entire dinner cost us $17 or just under $6 a person. I think that is a very good price for a Korean barbecue restaurant. At this point I normally go back home, but tonight my other friends invited me for a beer and a game of billiards at one local pub. I've never seen these kind of pubs before visiting Vietnam. There is a billiard table right in the center of the room, and literally all guests come here to have a drink while playing 8-ball. So cheers guys, this beer cost me 40,000 dong, which is rather normal price for local pubs. After having this beer with friends and having a few games of billiards, I headed back home, finishing this day with total expenses of 450 dong or $18. Although it's not quite right to say that I spent only $18 during this day, because there are so many other expenses that I have to take for living here. And before we start talking about some other additional expenses, quite a lot of things happened in my life recently since I recorded the first part of this video. The biggest is I moved to a new place. It is a very natural area somewhere by the corner of the city, and it's a totally new experience for me for living here. I think one of my next videos is gonna be about a new experience of actually being in this place. But now let's continue talking about the money. I got a little notebook where I wrote the rest of expenses that I took, that I have to take every single day. The biggest one is accommodation. So the apartment that I showed you earlier in this video, it cost me $9 every single day to rent it. That's my part of the rent. And the place that I moved in recently, it also cost me about the same amount of money. So no matter where I'm staying around the city, I pay around $9 a day. Although there are so many other options, cheaper and more expensive, for me, every single day, $9 goes to accommodation alone. Another $3 go to renting my Honda Vision bike. Although recently, after moving to a new place, I gave up renting my bike. I spent a few days looking for a new motorbike, and I found one that I purchased recently. But anyway, in the day when I was recording the first part of the video, I was spending $3 specifically for renting that bike. The next thing that I can add to daily expenses is a SIM card, and here it's rather inexpensive if you compare it to Americas or to Europe. Although if you compare it to Russian SIM card plans, it's actually more expensive here than in Russia. But anyway, every single month I pay $6 for my SIM card with like a lot of data included, so I have no worries about staying without connection no matter where I'm going around Vietnam, no matter how much internet I use every day. So that is like $6 a month or 20 cents daily, literally a joke. And the last things that I can add to like daily life expenses here is life insurance, travel insurance. It's something that I didn't really use before, which was a very reckless move. I lived in China for many years and I didn't have any insurance at all. Fortunately, I didn't have any troubles. I had some visits to hospital. I have like some minor operations, like minor surgery, but it cost me very small amount of money, so no big trouble without insurance that time in China. But once I started to have more or less stable income, I started to like worry more about what if I face anything serious medically. So every single time when I go to travel or when I live abroad for like very long time, I look for insurance company. Before I used to have a Russian insurance company, but since I started to like move around the world more frequently, I tried to find an insurance that's gonna work like in every single place I go. I found one company that is called Safety Win, and basically right now I'm being their customer for over a year already. For $56 American a month, they provide travel insurance no matter what country I am going. So the last thing that I want to count today is this visa runs and visa issue, which is kind of difficult to count by daily expenses because for every single individual it goes differently. I'm gonna spend a couple of minutes actually sharing stuff about like visa and visa runs because it's something that I never faced before starting living abroad. So basically, for living in Vietnam, you have to obtain a visa, and there are two options. You either have a free visa for 45 days, or you pay $25 and you get a 3-month travel visa, which is fine for staying here for any duration, like up to 3 months. If I want to stay in Vietnam for longer period of time, the thing that I have to do is I leave the territory of Vietnam. I spend 1 minute abroad, or 1 hour, or 1 day, or 1 month, no matter what time you spend abroad. And then you can come back to Vietnam, either applying for another 3 months long visa, or just using that free 45-day visa, which is my way of staying in Vietnam. I do not apply for 3 months visas. I prefer to enter Vietnam, like live and enter Vietnam every 45 days. Therefore, I have a bit more opportunity to like explore the countries around Vietnam. Every 45 days, I take either a bus or a flight somewhere abroad. And no matter where you go abroad, you can go like to South Korea, you can go China, you can go Thailand, you can go Cambodia by flight. No matter which country you take, from here, from Dalat, a round-way ticket would cost about $200 American, which is quite large sum of money. So a lot of people, like a lot of my friends who stay here long-term as tourists, they prefer to apply for like 3 months long visa and have super short, super fast visa run to Cambodia or to Laos. From Dalat, it would cost about $40 a round way. Go there by bus, come back by bus. Yeah, so summarizing all the expenses, basically these days showed you cost me 32 American dollars. Sometimes it goes a bit less, sometimes it goes a bit more, but it's literally counting every single expense except this visa run thing. I hope this video was kind of interesting to you. I'm quite excited to record like the area I'm living right now, kind of a shift into my daily life, because you all guys could notice that I started to upload way less frequently than I did before, and I took time like really slow, and now I feel more desire, more passion and more energy to film, to edit and to share stuff from my personal life, from my daily life, from the countries I live to you guys. And thank you so much for being with me. Спасибо and пока.